everyone, welcome back. Big Time Auto Racing episode 27. Something I forget to do pretty often is introduce myself. I'm Dylon Wilson. This is my co-host Brandon Pierce, and we are a couple of Cars Tour drivers. You know, if you guys are just kind of joining this soiree, if you will, Brandon's a full-time Cars Tour driver. I'm a semi-retired Cars Tour driver. But boy, we got a lot of action to talk about. Before, three wide finish, by the way, at Langley this weekend. No big deal. I don't know if you guys seen that, if you guys heard of that. Anybody watch the race this weekend, or you live under a rock? One of the most unbelievable finishes in the history of Cars Tour, for sure. Probably it's definitely on the Mount Rushmore, if not P1. But before we get into all that, this episode is presented by GeoCut Laser and Powder from GeoCutFabrication.com. You can order on-demand laser cut parts online with a few clicks of the mouse. They got fast lead times with no minimum orders. Again, that's GeoCutFabrication.com. Be sure to check them out. All right, Brandon, Langley recap. I'm excited for this one. This is one I've been a little hyped up for, man. I've watched the damn highlights of this race a few times. I wasn't even in it. And, that's saying something. Because I'm not exactly a highlight watcher of races I'm not in, especially at the old plate track, Langley. By God, was it a barn burner? How'd it feel to be a part of that one? You get to take credit for a little bit of that, right? You said that earlier.
Yeah. I
Nobody's sending Brandon things.
Before we come on air, I may or may not have had something to do with us lining up for a 2-to-go shootout. So, that part of it was unfortunate. But, man, I'll tell you what, it was an action-packed race all night. I mean, literally from the drop of the rag. Brent ran away with it a little bit early. But, really I would say just till probably like the first comp caution. But after that, man, you pretty much could throw a blanket over the field, kind of in like two groups, I would say, give or take. Until Connor was going to run away with it there at the end, actually, when Butterbean spun out before our caution, which was with 8 to go. So,
right.
But you already talked about it. I think I'm right on this. Literally the top 6 or 7, of course the top 3 come a line 3 wide, but they were 3 or 4 wide behind them.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, wild little finish. Langley has typically been a very, degrading track. It's hard to keep the tires on it, hard to keep the right rear on it because it's a big circle, I should say. It's hard to have that drive late in the run. So I'm sure it was a little bit different this time. First time on different set of different compound of tires on the ST2s this time. Huge difference, little difference, not nothing. How was that for you, Brandon?
Yeah, so I was kind of excited for me and you to talk about this. Obviously, for everybody that tuned into our most recent episode before this one, episode 26, Dylon and I talked about the struggles that kind of fully, I guess, came to fruition, or maybe was, I guess the correct word would be publicized more, about the struggles with the SC2, specifically speaking towards the Cars Tour late model stock teams at Tri-County. So, and I actually haven't even had a chance to talk to Dylon about this yet, so I'm not sure if he knows, but we arrived at Langley this weekend, and not to get too long-winded for everybody, but unannounced to me, we all got there, and the format was the same as far as that every team was going to draw their pill and get their 2 sets of tires, so 8 tires. However, the difference this weekend was we went to the drivers' meeting on Friday, and Irish Saunders, along with, I apologize, but I can't remember the engineer's name, but the head engineer at Hoosier were present at Langley this weekend. And they announced to us that the entire field that weekend, which was 24 cars, was going to be on the same coat of tires. They went into the Hoosier plant leading into this race and brought the same code for everybody for Langley. So everybody's 8 tires were the same code, or supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I can say that I myself, I feel like along with others, I didn't go look at all 48 sets, but I went and looked at, I'd say 30, give or take, and could read the same code. However, so I first and foremost want to say I applaud Hoosier for that, and I felt like most of the field did it first too. And then it came time to bolt them on.
Uh-oh.
I know for a fact that Carson Quapple brought a set of tires from Tri-County and made a sticker run to end the day on Friday and ran a 20-something. I think it was a 25. And then he showed up Saturday to bolt on the 4 practice tires that we were given for Langley, which was one of those sets of same coated tires, and he slowed down 3/10. Which, obviously for anybody who maybe is just getting started out following this podcast or following racing, that's not supposed to happen unless you have a problem.
Yeah, especially on new tires.
Yeah, so, and there was a couple of them that had that problem. I myself, we couldn't fully point the finger at that, but we definitely felt like our race set was different from our practice set. Our practice set, we put them on and we went slower than we went on 75 lap tires. And then kind of to wrap all this up, this is, I can say, the first race where we have seen the most wear on the ST2, which wasn't that surprising, being that it is Langley, like you touched on.
Right.
But I think, Dylan, you can probably even put emphasis on this. I mean, we've also been to some others that do wear or should wear, New River, Southern National, Hickory, depending on the time of year. But it was quite surprising, I guess, so to speak, on some of them. Right. And I think just the inconsistency, it wasn't that way, like, say, on all 4 tires. But I will say Hoosier did have a conversation with all of us. They know they have a problem. They admitted that they have a problem. And they say that they're going to get it right. I mean, Irish Saunders' exact quote was, he's been at Hoosier for 40 plus years and he knows they have a problem and they're going to do everything they can to make it right and get it right. So I applaud them for that. I can say as a competitor, for myself, for you, for everybody else, I hope it's sooner rather than later. Because unfortunately, like the topic I spoke on about Quapple, when you do put on one of these sets that aren't a good batch, you got $900 paperweights.
Yeah.
I mean, they're literally good for nothing other than maybe unload your car and roll it around the pits.
Right. Yeah, so I'm just praying to Christ that the 2 new sets of tires that I have sitting in my shop are not duds right now. So, yeah, man, it's a frustrating thing, especially in a, we're trying to save as much money as possible and keep racing affordable. You want to rely on stuff like tires a little bit to be a fail-safe kind of thing, as far as, you know how much it pisses you off to cut a tire, right? Especially if it's obviously if it's trash or debris that cuts it, shit happens, or if you jump somebody's wheel, it's just part of it. But those ones that don't have a lot of explanation, it just pisses you off more than anything in racing, because that can ruin your whole damn day and ruin your race car. And obviously that's not the issue we're having. This is just kind of like a grip issue and just overall drivability. Seems
something in the chemical makeup of the mold of the tire.
It's just not real positive what it is. Obviously, if it was a easy thing to figure out, then it'd already be figured out. So Hoosier was on scene at the Cars Tour race, working with teams trying to get the ST2 tires dialed in a little bit better. So that's good to hear. It's good that they're putting emphasis on the Cars Tour. Obviously, I mean, we're like the kind of the, not the test dummy, but we're kind of the flagship for these ST2 tires. The Cars Tour is. So we're testing as we go, and there's a lot of really expensive race cars and really expensive sponsorship deals and stuff like that. They want to see their cars run good, and if you're 3 or 4 tenths off in qualifying because of a different set of tires that should be the same as others, that sucks. And that's for sure. But maybe they'll get it fixed soon. We're definitely rooting for them.
And then like you touched on, you said the 2 sets you have in your shop, man. For all of our listeners and viewers, keep in mind, folks, when Dylan and I, when we race Wilkesboro, at least for the August race, which is the postponed race from May, that is not the compound that we've been competing on all year.
Right.
That is ST2s on the left, ST3s on the right.
Yeah. So technically, I've got a real small set of ST2s. That's really all I got. I got one small set of ST2s and a big ass set of ST3s, ready to race a damn dirt race or something. So I don't really know what I'm gonna do with those tires. Hopefully, I'll just save them for Wilkesboro. But anyways, so we wanted to address the tire situation a little bit first, because obviously it's the first one since all the shit show happened, and Hoosier was on scene, so that's cool. It's good to see Car Store at least getting some support from the big wigs. So we got, like we said, one of the greatest finishes ever. I know most of you already seen it. There was a lot of reactions around the Twitter world from big names in motorsports, giving the Car Store shout outs for some great racing and 3-wide clean racing with a good finish. From the naked eye, when the checkered flag came out, I got it right. I said Connor won, but my wife thought that that Landon Lewis won, or no, Brent Cruz won.
Brent Cruz, yeah. I was with Allie. When I went back and watched it, I was like, there ain't no way in hell.
Yeah, so a lot of people thought Brent Cruz was the winner. It kind of did look like it out on the replay, but the momentum was with the 22 for sure. And he crossed. And I also crossed the line first. Momentum don't mean shit, but like you could see him coming, and I think that's what I was paying attention to. I was watching I just kind of thought that's how it was going to work out. I figured Connor would end up getting that run up there.
I think if Brent was able to turn the center, if you go back and watch it, that second hit, I think that first little nudge he had with Carson.
Yeah.
Not that Brent did anything wrong. I mean, he was, basically establishing himself, down there at the bottom. That first contact, I think, would have been enough. I think it was that second. I think him and Carson kind of hit wheels a little bit.
Well, the only thing that would have made it a little bit better is if Butterbean was still in the fight there, because it was leading up to it was a storybook kind of thing. We had Butterbean and Connor battling head to head. It was kind of coming down to them two. The locals were getting on their feet.
They knocked the shit out of each other.
Oh yeah, and Connor. Most people around there don't like old Connor Hall. He's kind of became the Denny Hamlin of the Cars Tour. And I think that's cool. I think it's great for the Cars Tour. He even played into the villain thing a little bit. He said a quote. Not gonna lie, I didn't fully understand it. I think I don't know what he said. But it was a cool quote. And he basically said, "Suck it, y'all are booing, I won." So I did it. That's it was good. It was cool. I love that. He said it in a very polite way. That's not what he said at all. But he was trying to find the words I think he said it takes a lot. He said it takes a lot more talent to win this race.
Do what I do that
it does to boot.
Yeah.
No doubt. That's very true. But yeah, it was cool.
He followed that up with your track favorite can't win all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Track favorite can't win all the time. So Denny Hamlin-esque. I love it. It's good for the Cars Tour. I think that it's something we will see more of because Connor and Butterbean, I don't know. It seemed like Butterbean winning might have fired Connor up. Those guys, I don't think they're enemies, but they feed off of one another. Same thing we talked about with Carson and Connor. It's respect, and they shook hands after the race, and they race each other clean and all that. But there's definitely a little rivalry there, right? They're the top guys in the series are obviously going to have a little rivalry. So it's also better or even cooler when two local guys that most people at that track, you either like Butterbean or you like Connor. There's not really in between. A lot more people like Butterbean. A lot more.
I got to experience for the first time last year, probably, with the full effect. Not saying they haven't had it prior. I know, obviously, folks, let's back up. Last year, I was a teammate of Butterbean, but throw that aside. Whenever the Car Store's coming to town for Langley, and then specifically when we go back up in July for the Hampton Heat, those two pretty much, I feel safe to say, hate each other, and it's a battle of in their mind, it's who can brag about this for a year.
Yeah,
is how I view it.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's like the Cars Tour races are big, obviously, for them to win, and then obviously the Hampton Heat is another one coming up that they'll be battling like hell at. So it's always exciting. So yeah, I was licking my damn chops whenever I seen the old red car starting to chase the white, pink, and green car, because oh boy, it's about to get good. The boys are getting ready to get after it, because I knew that Brent led 100 laps. That's a lot of laps to lead. He ran a great race. I think Butterbean got up on him at one point and like literally pulled the parachute. I don't know if he just thought the pace was still a little too quick and didn't think because there was a competition caution coming out and he had ran him down and then fell way back. That was kind of setting everything up. So I think at that point everybody knew who the car to beat was, and that was the 03. Even though the 29 was really good, Butterbean ran his ass down pretty quick, and it was it was cool to watch how fast he actually did that because he had an unbelievably good car. And then all hell broke loose after that. And honestly, I think Butterbean, Connor was obviously, he got to save a little bit more than Butterbean did, I think, throughout the day, especially when Butterbean made that push a little early before the competition caution. I'm not sure if that's maybe what caused him to not be as good as Connor at the end or not. But anyways, Connor ends up joining that party eventually. And when they get to racing, eventually Connor literally knocked the damn back bumper bar off of Butterbean's car. And I mean that literally, because the damn thing was hanging off of it. So much so that it got black flagged. And then he wrecked. So it was a crazy sequence of events. He went from leading to spinning out and black flagged within a couple of laps. So he was mad as hell, probably driving like a pissed off teenager back up through the field. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough laps to get back up there because I'm sure he was ready to get after it. But either way, man, great entertainment for everybody at home watching. I'm sure to be there in person, it was a whole different feel, especially for the locals there because they all have like some vested interest in there. Connor got booed like hell, and I don't know if I've heard a Cars Tour booing from a guy who didn't wreck anybody throughout the race.
I haven't.
Ever. And that's a good thing, man. I know Connor's probably like, shit. I mean, this is my home track. I'd like to have some fucking, people like me here. Yeah. And most of them probably would love to, have a beer with him after the race and hang out. But God damn, when he wins.
What was crazy is,
it was pretty badass.
I could see him, when I drove off into 3, I was like, man, this finish is going to be crazy. I honest to God thought we were all going to wreck like hell and it was going to be a parking lot and didn't have a clue who was going to win.
You just don't keep your foot in it.
Yeah, because when we went off into 3, I mean, it looked like Connor was about to. I mean, obviously this is being dramatic, but you can speak on it because, again, as you say, Langley's a plate. It looked like Connor was up there at the damn sweets.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that wall straightens out pretty quick, and there's a lot of damn sheet metal between here and there.
Yeah.
this ain't gonna end well.
Yeah.
And we cross the line, and I pull into pit road, and I cut the car off, and I start taking my stuff off. And dude, like my spotter and crew chief are still talking to me, and I can hear the boos.
Yeah,
like it's making what they're saying to me silent.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this is insane. I mean, it.
Yeah,
I thought his boo at intros was pretty bad, but when he won the race, it made look like nothing. I mean,
well, I sure hope Connor plays into it. I hope that he takes it and runs with it because we don't necessarily need that in short track racing. It's not going to make it survive. It's not going to make the sport survive. Like, it's not essential to have a little bit of a villain and a boo bird guy. But god dang, that kind of like is kind of the final check mark. Like, okay, this series is for real, man. There's some people that really care about it. Now, this was his home track. I don't think he's going to get booed as much at other places, except for Hickory. He's probably starting to get booed at Hickory now. He wins there every damn time he shows up too. But it's easy to boo somebody that wins every damn time they show up somewhere, right? Like, it's a good thing. I'm sure as a race car driver, it's a little bit of a roller coaster of emotions because you're probably really happy that you just won, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, what's y'all's problem? Damn it, I just worked my ass off for that, and I love all this is my hometown. So, but I guess that's when you damn win all the time, it's just part of the deal. And it's cool, and I'm glad people care about it that much. I'm glad there is a rivalry brewing. I'm glad there's some good, respectful racing rookies that have fast cars. I mean, you can just look at the top 5 here. We got Brent Cruz and Trayton Lapsovich. That's going to be a hell of a rookie battle throughout the year. Thank God I was a rookie last year because I'd have been in some real trouble. That's for sure. Anyways, Brent. So the final 5 or top 5. Connor Hall, Brent Cruz, Carson Quaffle, Matt Waltz. Shout out Matt Waltz, the local guy there. Ended up finishing.
Yeah, he was up front all night.
Yeah, I think I kind of predicted that in the podcast. I was like, Matt Waltz, he's probably going to qualify good. I don't know how he'll race because I ain't got to watch the races much, but up there. But he always qualifies good there, and sure enough, qualified pretty good and raced good. So good for him. Qualified sixth, finished fourth. So shout out Matt Waltz and company. Drink beer with those guys before at the Neon Shack. I kind of remember some of that. Yeah, other than that, man, it was, Butterbean ended up 14th. So obviously the points have been shaken up just a hair. Late model driver points right now as follows. Connor Hall now has a 5-point lead over Brent Cruz and a 9-point lead over Butterbean. Carson Quaffle has a 22-point gap still to make up, and he falls back to 6th. But yeah, Mini Tyrell, Trayton Lapsvich are tied for 4th. So a lot of guys still the points battle is no joke. Still a little early in the season. I think. Well, what have we hit now? Have we hit? Not halfway yet. We're at race 7 times now. So
yeah, we still got 10 to go.
We're almost to halfway. Getting close to halfway. So a little early for talking about points, but I'm telling you, people. These things usually start getting a little bit bigger gaps by now, it seems like. At least in the top 5, 7, stuff like that. There's just still reachable for really anyone in the top 7 at this point. And that really, you can almost say top 9. I mean, 31 points separates the top 9. Crazier things have happened. So, yeah, man. Great little race at Langley. Hell of one to watch on the flow. They had great coverage all night. I mean, I think most people can speak on that. It was I thought it was one of the better ones I've watched all year. I thought Blake and Eric was killing it. So it was cool to watch. I don't know. Did you go back and watch it yet?
I did, yeah.
I thought you could hear the fans. You could hear the crowd yelling at the end and shit. It was like watching Dale Jr. take the lead at Dega in 03 or 06 whenever Butterbean and whenever Butterbean got back to lead after crossing a couple people over and shit, it was pretty damn cool. I'd like to have felt the electricity in the air, but damn, Flo did a really good job capturing as much as they could. That's for sure, because it was pretty fun to watch. Well, Brandon, we talked about you bringing out. You set everybody up with a great green-white checkered, which was pretty badass, but. Throughout the rest of the weekend, man, you was looking pretty damn sporty. I thought you was going to end up with a top 10, maybe top 5, especially later on in the race. And then something happened there at the end. But I'll let you, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'll let you run through your weekend.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to point the finger at tires. I think our car, Justin and I, we've obviously debriefed, and we all feel like we probably needed a little bit better to do a little bit better job. We kind of knew we were a little tight rolling center. And I know you can speak on this too from you racing there as well. And when you're tight center, that normally just makes you be freer off at a place like Langley, which is not good. So was just trying to protect and kind of save as much right rear as I could the first comp caution, and knew we were going to pit, which we did. And then I wanted to kind of start making some headway pretty quick, and I did. But I probably was a little too aggressive with it. I probably should have just tried to be a little easier, maybe the first stint of that second long green flag run. Because ultimately, like you said, so we had a caution with 25 to go, and we went from 19th to 11th in 5 laps. And was
on the apron?
Under. Yeah. Literally, I just.
God, that's so fun there, man. It's almost like you're cheating on a video game. That's how I felt when I raced. Not to interrupt you, but whenever I raced there, and for a very brief stint, I raced there before I piled her off into old 31 car, 31, 32, 30, something like that. I don't know. Knocked shit out. Something. But before that, I was on the apron, almost in the grass.
Yep.
And it was working. And I was like, wow, I almost feel like I shouldn't be here. I'm sure I was tearing some shit up on my tires, but I'm telling you, it does feel like you're about to get a slow down yield sign on iRacing or something when you're running down there. It's a weird little spot, but go ahead.
The biggest thing you better remember, and that's what I kept trying to do, which almost caused a few incidences. I'm sure you remember that drain off turn 4. Connor hit it when him and Butterbean got
I seen that. I seen the
Tokyo
sparks.
drifting.
Oh, there it is. The
Yeah.
the manhole or whatever, the drain.
I carried the left front across at one time and like started tensing up because I was like, oh, like I thought I was gonna be no good.
You thought
yeah, man, we made like some
Moses on the way to Pinehurst hitting it down.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought we were gonna be all right, and then like it was like the 5 or 6 laps of fame, and then I come off a 2, and it was just like kind of like spinning in the mud, and I was like, uh-oh. Like, because once you slip them once,
oh yeah,
it kind of makes for a long night. So we had Bassett behind us. He was probably definitely gonna get me, but then they were racing like hell behind us. Because that was when that stack up had happened. And
yeah, you get them cooled down there a little bit though. You can settle back in.
So I think I was going to be able to hold on still to 10th or 11th, which for us would have been a good night.
Yeah.
And then we had that caution. And when we had the caution, I was like, I just rode straight, like you're talking about, kind of trying to cool them off because I was like, I'm going to really try to do the same thing here. And then it came down to one of Connor Hall's infamous restarts. And it worked in his favor. And he stacked us the hell up.
Yeah, so. You gotta watch the hell out when old Connor's on. Damn, when he's in control of the race, he knows what he's doing. He's playing some games. He's got some shit going on, and he's gonna make sure he starts it himself. Nobody else is starting. If Connor Hall's starting the race, he's starting a damn race. And there's been some issues because of it. But hey, by all means, he also won the son of a bitch. So we can only talk so much shit. But for real, it's definitely one of those. You'll have that. He's not the only one though. There's definitely a few.
No, oh yeah, no, he's not. And so that got us stacked up. And then we kind of lost a couple spots because of the stack up. That allowed the top lane to get in line, fill holes. And then we were coming back up through there, and me and Connor Jones and Katie were racing like hell. And I'm pretty positive. I don't have any video to prove it, but I know how light my ass end felt, and I know that I was turning to the right. So I'm pretty confident. Plus, my spotter told me that I had some help off in the corner. And I'm sure you remember there's a pretty decent bump getting into turn 3 at Langley, and if you don't hit it just right, it'll really upset the car. Yep. Well, for how I entered the corner, I straddled it, and so it shoved me right up into Katie, and we went for a good old spinaroo. So that was unfortunate. There went all of our track position, set up a hell of a finish. You're welcome, folks.
Yeah.
But kind of derailed.
You're
our
welcome.
night.
Big time auto racing just contribute him just even more to the car store. Brandon set up that green white checkered. I can't talk worth a shit. I don't know what's going on. You'd think it's a shame I got a podcast. I don't know if it's the margaritas or what. I did have walking tacos tonight. I had walking tacos. We made those, and I had a couple margaritas. Also, made a tequila sunrise. No big deal. How about that?
Nice.
Yeah. So I might be a little over talkative. Put that out there, but it is a podcast.
Yeah, it's good quality podcasting.
But yeah, man, I did write down. Well, we kind of already talked about it, but Connor's reputation. He's kind of the Denny of late model stock racing now, and it's cool to see. I'm glad he didn't just play the super humble card, which I didn't think he appeared to be, not humble. It was he kind of played with it a little bit, I thought, and took a little shot at the fans and gave them a little shut up when he got out of the car. That was pretty good. I would definitely, if I was a video guy for Connor Hall, I would have videoed the shit out of that and used it all week. So hopefully they'll start getting the slow-mos out whenever Connor wins, because there's obviously I bet there's not going to be many shots missed anymore in those victory lane celebrations at Langley for Connor, because it's getting interesting, and boy, does that shit look good on camera. But yeah, so great weekend overall. Connor Hall with the win, obviously. There's a lot of rookies in the field.
Mm-hmm.
There's 8 rookies.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Wow. Side note, but still, 8 rookies in the field. That's kind of rare. 24 cars showed up. We were kind of expecting a couple more to show up, but we'll leave that. I guess that's just how it goes sometimes. 24 entered, 24 showed up. I guess that's on paper how you'd want it to go. There was a little bit of a before we breeze past Langley, there was a little bit of a dust up at the start of the race. It was Buddy Allis Jr. and Cody Dempster. I don't know exactly what happened there. It looked like by Buddy's frustration, he got wrecked or dive bombed.
Both
by Cody.
I mean, yeah,
and he showed a little displeasure afterwards, but kept his cool and did a good interview and everything. So shout out. Obviously, it's very frustrating to tear a car up. He tore it up like hell, and it wasn't of his doing. I don't think. I didn't. Did you see it? Is there a replay?
I saw it on my windshield. So,
so Brandon can confirm. He just got sent.
It was just
one of those deals.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Well, that's part of it. Cody Dempster also not long after that overheating deal. Usually, that's almost a telltale sign that he wrecked the shit out of him, because if you got one guy that wrecked on lap 55 and it says accident, and the next guy is out of the race on lap 61, it says overheating. So it's almost like he knocked his damn radiator off, wrecking him.
Yep.
I'm just saying, the damn stats do tell the tale on this one. That's kind of funny. But wrecking is not funny. Obviously, them guys have been racing the whole season, so it's it's never cool to damn tear cars up, obviously, but those guys have to race together a lot more, so hopefully they get their little, little fight or whatever. They got some beef now.
Yeah,
a little beef, little issue there. I'm sure, and those guys race against each other a lot and around each other a lot, so hopefully they work that out. But I just wanted to shed a little bit of light on, obviously they're at the back of the field this week because they wrecked, but a little bit lower down the leaderboard, there's a lot more action. It's not just up front all the time. So and Flo does a good job of capturing most of the field during the race, but Langley's kind of hard to do that because it's such a small track and it's wide ass open all the time. And if you look away from the leaders, you're going to miss a lot of the leaders' race. If they would have took the camera away from the leaders there, it'd have been ugly. But yeah, so I just wanted to shed a little light on that. Any local heroes run really good this? Oh yeah, well Matt Waltz, he's obviously finished fourth. Looks like is Tyler Tomasi, is he local?
No, I'm not sure where I know he's not a local.
Oh, here it says West Greenwich, Rhode Island.
Yeah,
is where he's from. So I don't know. He kind of, that's cool. Just trying the cars for hours. Is he racing there locally?
No, he was supposed to run Wilkesboro with AK, and so I'm not sure.
Okay,
like the rain out, so I don't know.
So it was an AK car. I got you. That makes more sense. Okay, I just seen a new name there.
Yeah.
Forgive my ignorance. Anyways, I believe that's all we got to talk about for Langley. I mean, it was a hell of a race.
Besides ratings.
Oh yeah, we got to do the ratings, but as far as the race recap goes, it was a hell of a race. If y'all didn't watch it.
If you missed it, go to Flow Folks on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. There'll be about a 50-second highlight. You'll see everything you need to see.
Let's be honest. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't seen the race yet, you probably listen to this podcast on an accident anyway. Or you're just like my cousin or some shit, and you're like, I'll just listen to what the hell they're talking about. I have no idea about racing. But if that's the case, then go check out ZMAX Cars Tour or Flow Racing on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. They got the highlights posted on there. I'm glad they do that now. You can go back and watch a good condensed version of the highlights like really soon after the race. So helps me out before the podcast. I know that. I always use it. So let's get into the nitty gritty now, Brandon. This is what the people are here for. Ratings. Ratings at Langley. Track ratings. We do this every week. We got 5 categories that are made up of fun factor, track atmosphere, facilities, bathrooms and concessions, and then the surrounding area. It's a pretty fair scale. Sometimes it varies. Surrounding area is a little bit of an iffy one, but this one might be a good week for that. So starting off with fun factor. I wasn't here this week, obviously, at the racetrack, so I will just be kind of helping Brandon along. But he was there, and there we had a couple of live text-ins of bathroom ratings, which has become a pretty popular thing here at Big Time Auto Racing. So if you guys are at the racetrack and you have some bathroom pointers, or feedback or anything like that, be sure to send it to me or Brandon, and we'll get it on the podcast. So yeah, we'll start off with fun factor. How fun was it to race this weekend, Brandon? And also, could you pass? Was there a lot of strategy? How was it?
Yeah, man, I love going to Langley. It was a super fun race, even with our mishap. I mean, it's probably, if not, I can't say my favorite place to race, but it's definitely up there. It's just fun. It's different. It's unique. Like me and you talk, you're never, if you're straight there, something's wrong.
Mm.
You're either saving an issue or you already have one.
Yeah.
So for me, man, it was a 9, and I know that's a high score, but just
yep.
I love going there. Like you talked about, the way I've always viewed Langley, I learned that the first night I raced there because it actually happened to me. I was like, spotter calling inside. I'm like, inside? I'm like left side's below the paint. What do you mean inside?
Yeah.
And I look in the mirror, and sure enough, like you said, old dude's down there about mowing grass,
Oh, yeah.
But there's grip down there, and for the guys that know how to run down there, they make it very effective. And it's just a fun place to run. Normally, pretty much every lap, something happening somewhere, and it just puts on a good show. So I give it a 9.
Hot start, 9. All right, up next, track atmosphere. Should be another good one. Fan turnout, events, promotion, trackside. I think track atmosphere, you also actually consider the atmosphere. Like how was the electricity in there and all that stuff. Obviously pretty high.
Yeah, so, I know this is crazy, but I have to give that a 9 as well. For kind of, for, culmination reasons, obviously, I know you can touch base on it. You've got NASA across the street.
Yeah.
So you've got F-16s and F-22s, and there was another one, I think F-33s. Don't come after me. I'm by no means,
big old vast ass airplanes.
Aircraft, yes. Guys doing their flight training and all that stuff, which is really neat. Always over there, hearing them guys spool up and everything. They always do a great job promoting the race.
Yeah.
They make you feel like they want you there. Their staff is great. It's very...
their damn media, or their videos they put out, are unbelievable. I don't know if they have their own Hollywood production company there, or if they hire somebody, or whatever, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It'll put people to shame, that's for sure.
The fan turnout, man, I was really happy to see because weather's played a little bit of a factor the last couple of years that we've went up there for the Cars Tour race.
Yeah.
Like last year, it was abnormally cold.
Yeah.
That race is always in June.
God,
and when
I
sun went
forgot
down
about
last
that.
year, it got like 40 degrees. It was stupid cold.
Yeah.
And so, the fan, I can't speak on that it was sold out, but it damn sure looked close. I know their suites were full. Maybe the 2 or 3 bottom rows of the grandstands didn't have anybody in them, and which is understandable. But outside of that, fan turnout was great. Probably the loudest driver intros I've ever been a part of. They were very interactive. Obviously, we've talked about the boos that came to Connor, and then on the flip side of that, the cheers that came for Butterbean. Both were deafening.
So a pair of 9s to start off.
Yeah.
All right. Facilities. So lighting, infrastructure, eye appeal, infield elbow room, spotter stands, etc. How's all that look?
If I pick 9, I'm gonna sound like a schmoozer,
another
right?
sweet light show.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, man. You got the light show, then everything there is. They got a nice tech room, the bathrooms.
Was there any room? How about this? How about any room for improvement on facilities there? Because everything's. There's a lot of good stuff. I can't really.
Man, I don't. I really don't know.
You can say a drawback is that you have to pull the trailers out.
Yeah, but you know what, man? I feel like for me, and this may sound crazy. I know it can at times be a hassle depending on how your day's going, but it's almost something I look forward to, man.
Right.
It's unique to kind of get it all out.
It is cool to sit there and watch.
Set up shop. Well, set up shop for your little pit area, for the downtime for your crew and family and everybody, and kind of have. I think it almost brings that morale together, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You see everybody in their behind their pit box, kind of having their own shindig.
Yeah, it is cool.
Which that does happen, but normally it's behind trailers or in trailers.
We built a big wind barrier last year. It was cold as shit, and we put tarps and tires up. We were just trying to stay out of the cold and the wind.
Yeah, so man, I don't know. Like you said, the lighting's great there. The eye appeal you pull in, man, Grass is always cut.
And
It's
yeah, they
always,
have the cool lights that change colors and stuff.
Yeah, so I'll change up and go 8. But it really probably could be a 9. But we'll just, I mean, their spotter stand there's great. I mean, I've never heard a spotter complain there. It's actually up in there. Like, you could leave trailers in there and the spotters see fine. They do it specifically for the fans, and which is really cool. I mean, that's obviously a nice gesture by the racetrack. So, but I'll go 8 on that. I mean, like I said, and that's really just to probably try to not schmooze it too much.
There's really not, I'd have to say I'd agree. But if you want to, I mean, if you feel like it's a 9 track, it's a 9 track. I mean, infrastructure or facilities wise, it's pretty tough to beat. But 998 so far. Up next, bathrooms and concessions. Always.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Topic. Yeah, gonna go 8 here, and the only reason it's not a 9, and not knocking the racetrack, they have an awesome selection of concession stands outside the racetrack. Bathrooms outside the racetrack are great. Bathrooms inside the racetrack are great. They're obviously smaller, but they get the job done. They're very nice. They're a couple years old now. It's always clean in there. But
they got locks on doors.
Locks on doors, which boom,
big deal.
As Dylan and I've talked about this year, if you have locks on your doors at your racetrack, I promise you that your score is getting at least a 6.
Oh yeah,
like bare minimum.
You're only going to be in the under 5 range if you don't have locks, and that's what kills the scores.
Yeah. So, folks, depending on how, like, if you walk in, you're like, man, this place looks kind of rough. Put some damn hooks and locks on it, and boom, you're getting a 6.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's that simple.
Yep.
I mean, we're literally telling you the tricks of the trade here.
All right, so a lot of high scores so far.
But yeah, I'm going 8 on bathrooms and concessions, and that's only because I wish there was a little bit more of selection. Excuse me, on infield concessions.
Yeah.
They've got a little trailer, and it puts out great food. There's just not a lot of items to choose from, but it's a small trailer, so I get it. Like their hands are kind of tied there, but still great. And like I said, give it an 8.
9988. All right, up next, surrounding area. So it's in the Hampton
Roads.
Hampton Roads. There's a lot of stuff to do there. It's a busy town. The traffic is freaking terrible. I know that. That is a drawback for sure.
But once you get out of the tunnel, it's normally smooth sailing.
Yep. Traffic's terrible. So I'd have to throw that in there. But everything else is really cool. How did you feel about it? You were fresh off the scene.
Yeah, so surrounding area minus traffic. I mean, that may be something for me and you to put in there down the road as a part of that category. But if we're excluding the traffic, because like I said, normally we did fight some traffic struggles. If I'm being completely honest, it was probably the longest it's ever took us to get to Langley. It took us about a little over 5 hours. It's never took us that long.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, but it was because we hit 2 traffic jams, one of them being the tunnel.
Yeah, it's always
and that's just because people up there forget how to damn drive as soon as they reach the tunnel, and it blows my mind. I mean, it's there. But so I'm gonna give it a 9. As I told Dylan before he and I got on air, we went to the casino, Rivers in Portsmouth or Portsmouth, however you want to say it. And it was awesome, great food up there always. Hotels are nice. Always have a good time with the team and family and everybody. So always enjoy going to Langley. Love being up there. If I didn't have a job, I would probably make it an extra day trip because there's a lot to do up there. So I gave it a 9.
Yeah. Well, that gives it one hell of a final score. The final score this year at the Langley Speedway. Breaking news. We have a new P1. Langley with an 8.6 to start the year off hot, which is a very fair score. I feel like it's a badass little racetrack. It's a little bit out of the way for the typical Carolina boy or whatever, but if you haven't ever been there, it's a great place to go, and the fan experience there is obviously unbelievable as well, especially for a Cars Tour race. Obviously, we're kind of Cars Tour loyalists, but they have a NASCAR weekly series there at Langley that races all the time, and they promote it very well. They have a lot of local guys that carry big stories there, and they promote it well, and it's a good little racetrack. So solid 8.6 for for Langley, which is pretty badass, man. We're inching in on the 9 categories. They're not too far away from it. Now, to be fair, they didn't have the kryptonite of me rating it this year to bring it down a little bit, but I usually play devil's advocate a little bit on the rating scales, but 8.6.
I actually, though, at the end of that race, and during the
I'm
race
confident it would have been an 8 for sure.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you'd been right there in the thick of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I think.
Well, even last year it finished 3rd overall. It was 7.6, and I wrecked like a son of a bitch there. So, you'd think that I would have hated it last year, if anything. But no, I thought it was a great little racetrack. And this year, it's a new P1 by a long shot. P1 by almost a full point, just 0.9 ahead of New River. So Langley, strong P1 here on the big time auto racing scale. Well, I hope this Thursday is treating everyone well, but we got a pretty big Thursday evening coming up here, Brandon. Obviously, right now it's Wednesday, but people listening to this, it's Thursday. And we're racing some damn go-karts. Thursday Night Thunder's back at the Third Turn Speedway, the little go-kart track below North Wilkesboro that my grandpa owns. And unfortunately, we didn't get to race at all during the Wilkesboro race week because of the weather shit show. And to make up for it, we're going to host some Thursday Night Thunder races and all that. So come out and support it so we can keep the damn go-kart track going. And it's fun as shit. Also, and when we're racing, it's going to be a slick track. Everybody's going to have to you're going to have to manage the throttle a little bit. We're going to have full course cautions, all that. We have a whole bracket system. Well, there's 3 heat races, the top 2 transfer, and then there's 2 LCQs. The winners transfer in each of those, and there's a feature. And we're going to have 2 total of those events. So basically that whole deal that I just said happens twice. And there's 2 separate winners at the end of the night. And you get a banner if you win with your name on it. And I think they got some trophies. And depending on your age, maybe some cold burrs or something like that sprayed in the area. I don't know, neon water or something. But we'll see. Either way. It'll be really fun. And I used to do this when I was a kid. Like, I literally would do this exact thing every Thursday the whole summer. Like, that's how I started racing. Just my dad was gone on the weekends pitting race cars. I couldn't really race on Saturdays. So I was like, well, I'll race rental carts. That was my start. And so I'm excited as shit for this. It's really, Dylan, why do you want to go right back to Wilkesboro after all the stuff y'all just did? Well, because it's cool as shit there. And you guys, I'm telling you, I know there's not a big race going on up the hill this weekend. So you're like, well, why would I go to North Wilkesboro? Why the hell wouldn't you go to North Wilkesboro is my question. If you want to come race, come race. If you want to come watch and hang out on the hill and scout it out, that's of course welcome. There'll be plenty of people walking around with cold drinks and looking down at the racetrack and watching the events, and there will be very serious race car drivers there, and there will be very unserious race car fans there. So, good mix of people. It'll be awesome. I'm excited to do it. Hopefully, we'll get a good crowd there. I have no idea. We're not doing reservations or anything, but the goal is to have 22 entries in each event, and if we have 22, then that seeds everything out perfectly. So. After that, it's just random. It's just random draw for your carts and starting position. So, and it is double file restart, so you can make some ground up pretty quick. But yeah, only $25 to enter the race, so you can't race anywhere any cheaper than that. So come hang out if you want to come. If you have time tomorrow night, I know it's a Thursday night, but god dang, Thursday Night Thunder, man, what happened to America? There ain't no Thursday Night Thunder no more. We're bringing it back. Somebody's got to do it. It's the only damn oval Thursday Night Thunder that I know of. So, come River Hale and see what y'all got. This is not an ad. We are just both going tomorrow, so we're excited to go. Brandon, are you going to race, or are you going to just be
I'm going to race.
Hell yeah.
So,
well, I don't know. I might have to be a commissioner a little bit, so I don't know if I'll race, but I will gladly attempt to. We'll see what happens. I'd love to race, but I'd also love to be a commissioner and make sure everybody has a great time because it's first Thursday Night Thunder, man. There's a lot of bragging rights on the line here.
Yeah.
First Night Thunder winner. That's something you
Go
hang
see
on
if
the
I can.
mantle.
Go see if I can break my winless streak at the old little track at the bottom of the
Yeah.
hill. The
So
little track produces just as good a racing as the big track.
So my plan is to eventually host some select special events there that are points carrying events that are some kind of prize paying out events to some extent. I don't really know how all that goes, the legality of everything, but we're gonna race like hell with kind of like an iRacing league that's real. You have to sign up for it, and you have to we keep points and all that. Maybe it's just a few events. Maybe it's just invite only. I don't know how it's all going to work, but it's going to be pretty cool. So pay attention to the Third Turn Speedway. And if you guys want to get a head start, come tomorrow night. It's a great way to get your feet wet there because there's going to be a lot of serious racing, hopefully. Or not serious, but you know what I mean. Serious rental kart racing that we keep points of and all that. There's a lot of little shit sticks that are like young up-and-coming car store guys that are going to come race. So I'm sure they'll be fast as hell. And we'll have to they'll be the ones to beat. So if you damn fans out there like booing people, man, or them spotters and tire guys, there it is. Y'all did good, I heard, this week. There wasn't no snow-capped shit mountains at Langley.
No,
Thank God. There wasn't either at Tri-County, I heard. No snow-capped shitters there. Y'all have done good. Come to Third Turn Speedway and race. Stay out of the bathroom, please. Y'all don't go in the damn bathroom, but y'all come race. It's fun. $25. I mean, come on. Can't beat it. What do you think, Brandon? If you're racing, man, you don't have to lay it all on the line, brother.
I'm used to being there with you, and I'm sure I will still partake in that, depending on the outcome of how my night goes on the racing side of things. Working the track with you and the family and having a good old time. So I'm used to dodging these little shits we spoke of.
Oh, yeah.
Now I get to be one of them. So it's not too often Dylan and I get out there on the track. We have every now and then, and it's obviously a good time when we do. So like I said, my plan tomorrow night, at least for this first one, is to race. But I always love pitching in and helping, and like I said, that's normally what I do anyway. So if I get there and it's all hands on deck are needed to make sure everybody has a good time and make sure we can keep this thing going, then I'll definitely put on the old working cap. But looking forward to it regardless.
Yeah, the best part about it is it's open to the public, so anybody and everybody can come race. I do think for the races there is an age limit. I don't know what it is, but you can't have any 7-year-olds out there racing. I mean, I know maybe I was back in the day, but you don't have to probably get the age up a little bit. Probably, I don't know what the age.
I'd say 12 or so.
Yeah, I'd say you can probably get in there at 12 or something. But there may be, I don't know what the rules are, honestly. There may be some rules there. But pretty sure little fellow that can wheel a Legends car or something like that or a go-kart, bring them on. If you want your boy to race against some grown-ass men and show them what's up in a rental cart, bring them on. That's great. Or if you want to race, if the old man wants to race, whatever.
If you're a first timer, Wilkesboro, we'll promise we break you right on in.
It's a great way if you have a couple siblings, come settle the debate. You can request, we'd probably request the same heats. Make sure you're racing against your people or whatever, at least to if you got some beef to settle, it's the time to do it. Now we do have some rules. Obviously, caution. You cause a caution, you're going to the rear. If you cause 2 cautions, you're probably, I don't know if that's, I don't know, we'll see. I guess that's up.
Probably going to the old pit area.
Yeah, probably going to get parked because, you can't be wrecking people the whole time. We understand some beating and banging here and there, but we got, we can't be tearing shit up and taking up all the time just because you think you need one spot and you also slow everybody else down. But we'll see. We'll treat it like we're the admins of iRacing race, basically, is what we're doing. So I'm excited for this, for sure. I'm not the boss man by no means. Dean Combs is the boss man, so I'm the least of everybody's worries if they go acting a damn fool. So I'm excited for a good time tomorrow night. My grandpa's super excited for it, all jokes aside. I know my cousin Tyler, he's been damn working like hell on the go-kart track, and he worked like hell on it during the week of the rain and shit. And luckily, not luckily. I mean, he got to party a little bit more with us this year because it rained so much. So that's good too. And now he's got Thursday Night Thunder coming up. So a whole bunch of people don't be up there, so y'all come join. We'll get to celebrate this time since we didn't get to race. And there's some more stuff coming up. Like I said, to be announced. It's gonna be real cool. So there's a good chance to get started tomorrow night. But now that we got a go-kart ad done, I'm just excited, man. God dang.
It's gonna be a good
race
time.
like hell. Get to race like hell tomorrow. Hopefully get it nice and slick. Make it hard to drive.
I think we will.
It's got to be really slick to make it 2 grooves. You know, we need to make it where some sliders can be thrown. I feel like, and there needs to probably be some water placed up top occasionally to mix it up. You know, we'll see. But yeah, a bunch of 15 lappers. You're guaranteed 2 15-lap races at $25. And if you win, or if you finish top 2 in your heat, or you win your LCQ, you're in the main, and you can win a banner if you win the main, and that's a big deal in these parts.
Good looking banner too, folks.
Oh yeah. Well, before we wind everything down, let's do another shout out to our boy GeoCut Laser and Powder, GeoCutFabrication.com. You can order on-demand laser cut parts online with a few clicks of the mouse. Fast lead times with no minimum orders. Again, that's GeoCutFabrication.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's been a good time. We ain't got been on here for about an hour. I didn't really feel like it's been that long of a podcast, but it's been a while. But going forward, we've got Dominion coming up. So you expect an episode from us next week regarding the lead up to Dominion. Probably see us
a little bit of a go-kart recap too.
Oh yeah, go-kart recap and Dominion preview will be coming next week. Happy Thursday, everyone. Come to the go-kart race tonight if you want to race some hell. And if not, we'll keep everyone updated. I think maybe Moonhead's coming, so I'm sure will be live tweeting some shit. I think he's racing as well, so
maybe he'll bring that yellow suit he was in yesterday.
Yeah. So who knows what's to be expected? I don't know what's coming. I would just suggest you come if you want to race or just race some hell. Either way. So we will see you guys next time, man. It's been fun. On Big Time Auto Racing. See you next Thursday.